I'm Becky.
And I'm Mickey.
And these...
Well, we're back. We're both back instead of just one of us.
With Inglorious reviews. And since Mickey's visiting, and since I was truant last week, he and I are going to do the the videos for last week and this week's Arrow together.
Yep. Yeah. Make it more exciting.
Yep. So, let's start off with Arrow 316, last week's episode called The Offer, which picked up right after the hiatus. I hate CW's hiatuses. They're like every 3-4 episodes. It's like 2 weeks from now or a month from now.
I don't like that either. The 2 weeks I can live with. Yeah. But then a month I just kind of lose everything. I'm like, I never watch that other episode.
Like, you pick up other hobbies and you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to go back to that.
I just pick up other shows.
Yeah. And then it becomes like a hassle to watch.
I gotta watch 3 shows tonight.
Yeah.
All live.
Yeah. So, I don't know any group that's any network that's as bad as the CW is about those hiatuses. Yeah. So, well, 316, it picks up right where we left off before the hiatus with Ra's al Ghul talking to Oliver, offering him his old spot in the League of Assassins as a leader. And so as it turns out, you were right.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
He is passing it on like it was passed on to him.
That does not make it okay.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does, because we're not at the original Ra's al Ghul.
No,
we're not at the original
Asian characters should be played by Asian
but
people.
But he's not the first one.
Yeah, and
he's not the original.
Yeah, that's what they had to do to make it okay.
Well, they didn't.
Race Australian.
He's like the 5th, 6th, 8th one.
That does not make it okay.
He's been living hundreds of centuries. He's like number 10 down the road of Ra's al Ghul.
How did an Australian guy from hundreds of years ago make it all the way to Nanda Parbat?
Well, let's see here. Australian people, well, they're probably drifters. Ends up somewhere, because anybody can be trained at that area. So he gets trained, he challenges the old guy, beats him, becomes the new Ra's al Ghul. Easy peasy. You don't gotta sign anything.
I don't like it.
You must be Asian, or Middle Eastern, or whatever. You must be of this lineage, no? Like you or me could be Ra's al Ghul if we had the fighting skills. That'd be entertaining. Head of League of Assassins.
Okay. He's Ra's Australian, not Ra's al Ghul. Okay, and then side note. Okay, in these last episodes, I've noticed Nyssa, she's been with the Arrow team, and they've talked about, the League of Assassins, and she has pronounced it like the correct, Asian pronunciation, Ra's al Ghul. In front of the Arrow team, a ton of times. But even so, they're still calling him Ra's al Ghul.
Because that's Americanized?
Yeah, but they've heard it, said in front of them, a bunch of times.
Well, I guess if you write it down, it's Ra's, but in Ray.
Yeah, but they've heard it said right.
Oh,
I want there to be, a little scene where, Nyssa or someone corrects them about the way they're saying Ra's al Ghul.
Could be a funny
clip thing. Yeah. So I just noticed that after a while when I was watching.
Well, just between the two of us. I mean, you keep on saying Rage or whatever, and I say Ra's.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And now you know better.
Nope, but I'm going to keep on saying Ra's.
Of course you are. You Americentric person.
No, I think not.
You Anglicized-centric.
Ooh.
Anglo-centric.
Is that an insult?
I think. I don't know. All right. So the episode revolves around Oliver. He comes back, and of course, he withholds all the information about, the offer, even though it does affect the rest of the Arrow team eventually. Of course, he doesn't tell them until he absolutely has to at the last minute what's going on.
Secrets keep you safe.
No. Did they keep Thea safe?
That's the joke. It's not. His whole thing of secrets keeping people safe is not a good idea.
So he comes back. He comes back with Malcolm in tow. And he, disposes of him on Thea's couch. And he's like, well, I had nowhere else to take him. And it's like, no, you could have handcuffed him to a radiator in the Arrow Cave. You did not have to bring him back to Thea's apartment. And, here's the thing. Oliver's constantly going on about how much he loves Thea and how much he will do anything to protect her. Fight any fight, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, Thea is in a really terrible, vulnerable, emotional place right now. And, if someone did to her what Malcolm did, to my sister what, Malcolm did to Thea, I would not want to bring him back near her and when she's in a state like that and leave him alone with her in that apartment, which is what he does. And, he was perfectly able of like getting into her head and manipulating her. He could, he's a master manipulator. I just would not have put him anymore near her. So that really got to me.
Oliver wanted him in a comfy spot. That's what it is.
He doesn't deserve a comfy spot.
He needed a couch to sleep on.
Handcuff him to a cot in the arrow cave where he can be guarded. Put him in the cage thing that they had Nisa in.
Yeah,
that appeared out of nowhere and like disappeared again after she left.
Like, I feel if Malcolm calling himself, the escaper of all jails and stuff like that, I think Nisa would have the same type of skills.
Yeah.
Could have just slipped out of that jail cell.
I'm pretty sure, like, that's what she could do.
She could have.
She was, like, she just waited around, hanging out, meditating. And then, like, after, like, Nisa let her go, Thea let her go, she, like, just went back in. Like,
yes.
Like, no trouble, just went back in.
And then later, when they let her out, she just kind of hung around this town.
Yeah, she doesn't care anymore.
I don't know.
Hasn't.
Do they know, or does Oliver even know
what?
that she's been ousted in a sense?
I guess in a way, because if he's offering it to Oliver when Nisa keeps referring herself to as the heir to the demon and expecting to be, take his place, I guess they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Nisa's not happy about her, her legacy being taken, and she tells her father, "I'm not going to stand here and watch you give my legacy off to an outsider." And he's like, "Then don't." And I don't know if that's a dismissal or a challenge.
I hope it's a challenge. I want to see
fight to the death.
Nisa versus Oliver, or Nisa versus the new Ra's al Ghul, or Raz or Raze, or whatever you want to call it.
Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's.
Yeah. So she leaves and she goes and meets up with Laurel, who is having daddy issues of her own because Captain Detective Treasurer Lance, who finally did clarify. Yeah,
that's Detective and Captain.
That's what I've been calling him in my videos, Captain Detective Treasurer Lance.
Why Treasurer? What is this? What is the club?
It's funny.
I'm part of the club.
Because it's funny, that's why.
I'm the police club.
And when he finally was like, "It's Captain Lance," in this episode.
Yeah, he was very adamant about that. I don't know why, to the arrow.
I wonder, there's a bit of a meme that no one quite knows what his title is, and maybe it got back to the arrow writers, so they put that in there.
That could have been it.
Yeah, so...
With the Captain Detective thing, I think that's when he had his change of heart of him. But I never really got that. Like, what had his change of heart? Do you remember that? About
the arrow?
Yeah.
Wait, that he did like or didn't like the arrow again?
That he didn't like the arrow again. Did I miss something?
He figured out that the arrow must have known that Sarah was dead.
Oh, yeah.
And he
got
mad.
Already knew that, though. That was like a mute point. I thought he knew all that stuff. He's way behind the curve.
Yeah, he found out that Sarah was dead. And then he realized that it must have been the arrow. And then, like, the last episode, he yelled at the arrow for keeping it from him and told him that he was back to his season 1 arrow-hating ways as far as he was concerned.
He knows, as a detective or a captain or treasurer, he knows less about his superhero buddy than Detective West does.
Well, I think there's a part of him that does know it's Oliver Queen, but because, he wanted the arrow to be able to do what he does, he, tries not to know. Subconsciously, he probably has figured it out, but he just won't acknowledge it to himself, because that means he'd have to do stuff he doesn't really want to do. But that may change now, I don't know.
It's an interesting thing in the two shows, The Flash and Arrow, where Detective, whatever his name, Lance, is on the outside of the loop of the superhero thing. But in The Flash, Detective West is the inside loop. So I think that's much more interesting to have. It's a different dynamic, really.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm enjoying The Flash more than the Arrow these days. I mean...
Yeah, well, watch my videos, and they're to the point, but they're not as entertaining as just me.
8 minutes long.
You can watch them between, I don't know, whatever. These videos, which are half an hour long.
I go more in-depth than you do.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You have much more... You get ranty about more things than I could care less about.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You go from these last 2 episodes of Flash have been total standouts, like, the whole
they're
time.
really good.
Like, the first one after the hiatus,
we're
like, there was probably...
We're on Arrow reviews here.
Yeah, well, it was, like, the best episode of the season, and you go from
Yeah.
those wonderful shows to this angst fest.
Hey, that's why it comes before this one, on
Mm-hmm.
Tuesdays.
I don't know. So, yeah, meh, the episode. It was an episode. Thea still hates Malcolm. Malcolm is injured, and he was allowed to walk off into the night, roam free as usual, without any oversight, which has been proven to be a bad idea. And that really annoyed me too. And, like, seriously, slap an ankle monitor on him or something.
He's gonna crack that.
Well, try.
Need a collar.
Try something. Don't just, like, stand back and, like, let him sneak into the Arrow cave and say ominous things whenever he feels like it. Like, they don't even, like...
I'm an omniscient being.
Like, he could, like, you know, try to break out of prisons and crack stuff and, like, you know, crack codes on ankle monitors, but, like, try to put an ankle monitor on him, like, you know, make an effort. And they don't.
Yeah, just say put him in Iron Heights or in the Tube of Central City.
Yeah.
He'd probably be safer there.
Yeah. Oh goodness. So, yeah. Oh, what else happened in that episode? Oh, Roy and Thea got back together.
Yep.
Yep. Well, meh.
Yeah,
I mean,
that one was okay, but then I was like, well, we need a change up here, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I really did like them in season 1. I really did. You know, she was kind of this spoiled, self-centered brat who only cared about herself, and he was kind of a, you know, jerk. JD only cared about himself, and being together kind of forced them to start thinking about other people and growing, and it was nice. And then they broke up after season 2, and at this point, it's been like a year since they've broken up. And they haven't really had any romantic tension. I mean, he looked pouty with when blonde DJ Assassin showed up. But that was really it. Like, there hasn't really been any romantic moments between them. They've been working together platonically and spending time together, but I just haven't felt any, like, romantic chemistry, you know?
Chemistry, tension type stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing there. But they're back now. We'll see how long that lasts before another assassin shows up.
Well, I feel like they're getting together is just another part of the Give Roy Something to Do campaign that's been going on since, we got back from Christmas.
Well, he isn't used for too much else, as we'll explain in the next review episode.
Yeah. He hasn't had much to do, so they gave him, you know, so I think they got those two back together to give him something to do.
Well, they give him some film time, so he's not just kind of like sitting in the arrow cave shooting arrows at people.
Yeah, and, you know, losing fights.
More than he should be. He's the one who should have been trained by Ra's al Ghul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't really seem to know what to do with Roy. I mean, they have been, like, putting him more, you know, when the arrow was gone, he got more put in the forefront a bit more, which is nice, but now he's back, and again, like, just really nothing to do.
His big job now is patrol the streets, go in the back alleys, and find out information. Mm-hmm. That's his big job now.
And it's, like, still, like, saying, but again, like, just saying, well, I'll go ask someone about this, and then, you know, appearing off screen, and then coming back, like, during the next Arrow meeting before a fight. That's still not, like, much to do.
It's nothing, but they don't know what to do with them.
Not much to do on screen.
No. Kind of gets in the way unless they're fighting, you know, multiple villains at a time.
And the Glades aren't a factor anymore.
Nope.
I mean, they had that little three-part, those three-part episode trilogy about the Glades, but when that was over...
Done. Mm-hmm. Nobody else came up and took over power, so...
Yeah.
We're at a loss there, so we'll kind of see how that one pans out, I think.
I don't know.
That's your phone.
I can get it later.
We'll ignore that.
Yeah, I'll get it later. So... I don't know. It was... it was an episode.
It's a 7.
It happened. What would you grade the episode with?
A 7.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not horrible.
Nah. C plus. B.
5 through 7, so about the same. A
C,
7.
C plus, B minus.
Have you done the rating system in any other videos?
No, not
Me
really.
neither. I just say it's good or it's bad or it's...
Yeah.
They're never bad, though. So.
Yeah, they're all right.
Some of them are mad and then good.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's been as bad as season 1, but this whole season has been very disjointed.
For Arrow, at least, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So we move on to the most recent one. Was it yesterday, for that matter?
Yeah. Last night it was Arrow 317, Suicidal Tendencies, and that focused on the Suicide Squad and Floyd Lawton.
Which was nice to see his backstory, you know, a bit of a softer side of him, which I liked.
Yeah, well, this episode was really overstuffed.
Of fun stuff?
No,
or
just a plot and things going on. You know, there's a huge plot with Ray going on, and then there's a plot with the Krasnia hostage situation, and then there are also the flashbacks. There were a bunch of different plots going on, so they couldn't really spend any time on, much time on any of them.
John Diggle and his wife.
Yeah,
that type of thing
and the wedding that lasted all of 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's wedding.
Yeah.
How much longer do you want it?
Well, I don't know.
Cut short by Amanda Waller.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. So Felicity brings Ray to the wedding, and he winds up officiating because he's a minister.
For some odd reason.
He says he's a minister. I didn't do my research on Ray Palmer, so I don't know anything about that.
He's a minister of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Oh, yeah?
No, I just made that up. Anything could have passed. Who knows?
I don't know.
Nobody said he was a minister of, the Catholic faith or the Scientology church or the Mormons. He could be a Mormon for all we know.
Yeah.
I don't think they say anything in the comics about his church beliefs, so that's just something they put in there.
I don't know. So they get married, and their vows and everything lasts about 5 minutes, and then there's a dance, and Will and Thea's in the episode for 1 second as a Roy's date with no lines. She doesn't even talk to Felicity or anything, even though they're sitting next to each other, because they can't. The women don't talk to each other in these shows, I guess. And so the wedding gets interrupted by a media blast about the Arrow killing someone, and so the whole thing gets cut short, and Amanda Waller, and so the Arrow team goes back to the cave to figure out what's going on, and Amanda Waller calls Lila and Diggle over to help with an Argus mission.
Which is something they didn't have to take either. That was a very much optional thing for them, and they're like, yeah, let's go. And we see how that ended up. But if we go on that tangent, or we could just go back to the Arrow.
Let's talk about Suicide Squad and get that over with.
Okay.
So there's a hostage situation in the Republic of Krasnia. A senator who'd been helping fund the building of a hospital had gone over for the opening, and the whole thing got taken over by terrorists who were holding everyone hostage.
Not true terrorists.
Yeah.
All a fake setup.
Yeah.
By your government.
So Lila and Diggle decide to go, and they bring Lawton and Cupid, which was Arrow's
Oh yeah, that's
stalker.
her name. I was trying to remember that for the whole episode.
I had thought there were rumors going around that we were going to have a Suicide Squad spin-off show. But, this episode, and it seemed like they were getting together a nice team, Deadshot and Huntress and Harley Quinn and, a few different people. But for some reason, you'd think for, a hostage situation like this in another country, they'd bring a bigger team. But instead, it's just Lawton, Diggle, Lila, and Cupid.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is the Suicide Squad movie, which is coming out.
Oh.
And that has the big, I think, 6 of them. But again, for the episode at least, the Suicide Squad is at their starting points. Their first characters, which is Deadshot, Cupid, and is that all?
Yeah, that was
just
it.
them two. For a minute,
yeah, those
and
two
Diggle and
Lila.
his wife. Yeah.
Yep. So they go, and they find out that it's not actually a hostage situation. The senator hired the mercenaries to come and make a fake hostage situation that he would diffuse diplomatically to make himself a hero back in America because he wanted to run for president. So all of a sudden it's like those four are like trapped in this hospital with all these mercenaries who are actually who are at the bidding of the senator, who's now in jeopardy of losing everything because now there are a bunch of witnesses to what he tried to do. Him setting up this hostage situation.
It's a poor way to go, really.
Yeah.
It's like so much could go wrong.
Mm-hmm. But there are politicians who would totally try to pull something like this off.
I mean, I guess the mercenary probably might shoot you.
Mm-hmm.
You could actually push that bomb button, which you rigged the whole hospital with.
Why would you, like, if your whole thing was, like, that you built this hospital, like, why would you rig it with explosives and, like, ruin all the work?
You never know when you get to run for president.
Mm. No, well, it's just like, if your whole thing is getting everyone out safely out of this hospital you just had built, why would you risk the hospital getting destroyed?
He's got the money to spare.
Yeah.
Said politicians.
Yeah,
I think that first showing of the Suicide Squad, at least the first beginning character, is a pretty good start.
Yeah.
I see Cupid has moved on from Oliver to Lawton, and he's kind of happy about that.
Yeah.
He's kind of not.
And Lawton, we find out a bit more about his past,
which was good.
He was a military man who came home. He had PTSD, and his little 2-year-old didn't recognize him anymore because he'd been gone for so long, which was very sad. And at one point, during an angry outburst, he pulls a gun on his wife, doesn't hurt her, but freaks her out enough to call the police and get a restraining order. And because of that, and so he loses his family and almost gets sent to prison. And instead, of whatever happening to him, he gets tapped to work for Hive.
Yeah.
You know anything about Hive?
No, I don't. I should have researched that. I didn't know we were going to do the episodes today.
I do know Hive was on Teen Titans, the Teen Titans cartoon I watched when I was little.
Oh,
they were like, of course it was a kid's cartoon, so they might have altered a little bit, but they were basically, mercenaries. They were guns for hire. So he was hired to be a mercenary for Hive. So I think it's really cool that they're adding Hive into the mythology. And I thought it was funny. I don't know if anyone noticed this. The woman who tapped him and told him that, love's a distraction, the bad guy from Hive, was also named Amanda, just like the bad guy from Argus.
Coincidence?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. So, and again, it was so rushed. We didn't really get to see, very much of his backstory. He was, coming home one day and, all nice and, calm and gentle, and then all of a sudden we see him, just doing a complete 180. And his wife, has to tell us, what's wrong with him. Oh, well, you're not eating or sleeping and you won't talk to me. Where's my husband? But you never get to see it. You're just informed of the changes that happened to him.
I think that the quick flashbacks were quick because it was more of his change of heart towards other people, even though he's a hired gun. Because at first he's all like, you repeat that quote to Diggle and his wife. How love's a head, basically a bullet in the brain. But then towards the end of that episode, he has a change of heart for some reason, a change of thinking. And he's all for it. He's all like, you two, you and your love, go and save, be with your kid.
Yeah.
So I think that's really why that flashback was so quick.
I felt like it was a really quick change of heart, to be honest with you. It was a really quick redemption arc.
Yeah, I'll give it that much.
Before he dies.
We don't know if he dies.
We see him go out and, in an explosion looking at a picture of his wife and daughter.
He could have still survived.
Yeah. This is comic book universe where no one really dies, so you don't know.
True.
But
everybody comes back to life at least once.
But he was blamed for the terrorist attack.
Yeah, which is annoying.
And it's you'd think Amanda Waller, who loves order, would not allow, something like that to happen.
Remember, she answers the higher-ups. And that was a covert mission. I don't think she was supposed to,
Yeah.
nobody was supposed to even know they
I
were
mean,
left out.
I like to think that it was easier to blame it on Lawton than the senator, but that she would make sure that he never does become president.
They probably would do that.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see that politician again unless, he's really important to things.
Yeah, so no Hong Kong flashbacks at all this week.
Which was good.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until after the episode because those flashbacks don't really hold a lot of water. But Shadow showed up in the flashbacks last week. We didn't discuss last week's flashbacks.
That's true.
But really, that's all that happened last week's flashback. Shadow showed up.
Nope, nothing really important.
Yeah.
Are we done with Suicide Squad?
Yeah, Suicide Squad. Lawton is dead.
Supposedly.
And Lila is so disgusted by the whole thing, she decides to quit Argus. And Diggle decides, because they both realized how much they'd screwed up going on a dangerous mission, risking orphaning their kid. So Diggle decides that he's going to quit the Arrow team.
So they're off to do their own little thing.
I don't know if Diggle's going to quit yet.
I think he's going to quit down the road.
Yeah, I think, once the League of Shadows thing is over, I think he's going to quit.
I think he's going to quit. They're going to move him to the side.
Well,
and Ray Palmer might
to be
have more of a say.
Well,
that transition.
Yeah, well, there's supposed to be a big death at the end of the season.
And a death?
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. Not just like ride into the sunset?
Yeah,
so who's
that's
going to die?
I don't know, but they're saying there's going to be a big death. Some people think it's going to be Felicity.
Well,
I kind of think that it might be Diggle because normally when someone starts deciding that they want to, quiet life, that means they're going to die.
Well, the Felicity thing's a bit towards the end, but we see that Arrow shot.
There would not be a show without Felicity.
That's true. She
carries so much of the weight of the show because she's Emily Bat Rickards is such a good actress. They just could. It sounds ridiculous, but they could not have Arrow without Felicity.
She kind of she's the glue that combines everybody together. Talking about Felicity, what do you think about her and Ray? Since you probably have more opinion than I do.
Well, I kind of started liking Ray, but when he found out that she knew that Oliver Queen was the Arrow and gets mad at her for it, that annoyed me. And where he was like, from the beginning, I have been open and honest with you and held nothing back, and I was like. Yeah, even when crossing ethical and professional boundaries to do so. And so, I don't know.
That's about it.
And after that scene, I was just, and when he goes to the DA, I was just thinking, oh, Felicity, this guy's not good enough for you. None of these guys are good enough for you.
Yeah, maybe we should just give Barry Allen for a little bit.
Yeah, they would be good together.
Though that's a bit of a different episode. Seeing that the Flash disrupted the time-space continuum, which you can hear about in my episode. 10 minutes worth. But talking about the Atom with Ray Palmer, we finally see that he gets his suit all done, which is nice. But for me, it's too much. It looks too much like the Iron Man suit, and instead of sonic blasters, which I, think he should have, he has these electrode lightning blast. And I was hoping he would shrink since he is the Atom, but he never shrinks. He just flies around like Iron Man. And he gets beaten really easy by the Arrow. Arrow just kind of like flicks his, I don't know, what is it, a dart or something, and just knocks out the electronics and he's done. That was really pointless. I thought it was laughable. Another laughable thing. Arsenal just gets knocked out and just left it.
I know. Okay,
we talked about this earlier.
Okay, first off, I think that if Iron Man weren't such a big deal,
I like him.
Yeah. Well, no, but he's so he makes a lot of money, and the movies make a lot of money.
I'm talking about the character from the comics, not so much the movies.
No, he's still super popular. If Iron Man weren't such a big deal, then there's no way they would be pushing the Atom so hard. Because DC really is trying to, become the entity that the Marvel movies have become.
Not gonna happen.
If they just focused on making a bunch of good TV shows, like we've talked about, if they just had a channel just full of DC TV shows, I'd watch the heck out of that.
DC is, we talked about this before, DC has much better track record with TV shows. Marvel's got the whole movie thing set up. But again, it's what you like to watch.
Yeah. So, So Ray, he goes, he finds out, and he goes to the DA, and Laurel shuts him down. So he lures Oliver and Roy out to a fight, and he blasts the heck out of Roy in like 2 seconds. As per usual, Roy doesn't last long in a fight.
He just lays there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't see any life.
Yeah.
And then you see the fight between Ray and Oliver, which was okay, but Ray has no fighting skills.
Yeah.
So as soon as he just like stands there and talks, Oliver's like, "Ha, you're done. I know your weakness."
Yeah. I thought it was just great. Like, I love in the show, people who have no idea what they're doing who go into a fight get their butts kicked.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. Like, Ray has no idea what he's doing. So it was really nice to, like, for me, at the end of the episode, when he was like, when Felicity goes to him, and he's like, "Oh, my ego's bruised," and the rest of me too.
He's like, "Oh, my arm," because he makes that punch, and he's like, he's in an armored suit, but he still gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But he just, when he was talking at his desk, which I don't know if anybody told him, but he's all like, "Yeah, I know Oliver's the Arrow, I know this, and I know Laurel's the Black Canary," and I was like, nobody told him who Black Canary was.
Yeah.
So was he, like, flying around in his, suit with the X-ray vision and just finding everybody?
Yeah, because, like, not a lot of people know that Sarah is alive. I mean, Sarah's dead.
Yeah.
So, you think maybe his first thing would be to jump to Sarah, not Laurel.
So, yeah, maybe not everybody likes this idea, but since we think Diggle's going to move out, maybe they'll introduce Ray into the little Arrow thing, which might be a mess.
Well,
to say the least.
Then again, that'll be someone else to push Roy out. Because Ray would be the new guy who doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah, but at least he has potential skills and something more to offer than, I can shoot an arrow bow too.
Yeah, but so again, that would be another character to push Roy into the background.
It's almost, as you said, overloading the whole Arrow situation.
I mean, they do a great job of writing these great characters and, having these sometimes great plots. And, but then there's so much of them, you have to kind of rotate them in and out like a soap opera does because, to give it, everyone needs so much time for their characters and stuff. That's
what's nice about The Flash, just him and his team.
Yeah.
No real partners.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Of course, eventually, Cisco and Caitlin are probably going to start developing their powers, and then Ronnie will come back at some point.
You saw, man, the last 2 episodes for The Flash. Crazy.
Yeah, they were really good, though.
They're really good, and all over the place. I don't want to go ranting on now since it's an Arrow review.
Yeah.
And not mine.
Yeah, so Ray realizes that he's in a little over his head and that he should trust Felicity. And Oliver convinces him to trust, trust Oliver and, that he's not the killer. And the League of Assassins keeps running around killing people, even Miss Seo. Miss Seo murders the mayor.
Well, does he murder or just hit her in the shoulder? It looked like he hit her in the shoulder.
Yeah, it looks like he killed her.
Oh, and his next shot was Felicity.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And all we hear is the arrow go. So.
Yeah.
Anything could happen next week.
Next week it's like open season on the Arrow because, because they think he killed the mayor.
Man.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to find a new home.
Yeah. So. So the Republic of. The Kaznia thing, Lila quits, Diggle quits, and again, I don't think I know that I've discussed this with you. A coworker told me that he heard that people are thinking of making Diggle into the next Green Lantern.
I've heard that too, but that was shot down.
Really?
Yeah. There was a lot of talk of that. A lot of the fans wanted it, really, and then the movie producers said, nope. If a TV show, it wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, they made like a TV show, Green Lantern, which I didn't think would be a bad idea because the movie Green Lantern last time was really badly.
I enjoyed it for the most part, at least the premise of it, not so much the whole movie. And see, they could, again, they're off topic, but if they do a Green Lantern TV show, they could do from the beginning, Ubinsar, or however you say his name, to Hal Jordan, to what's his name, because I don't remember his name.
Sean?
Yeah. Well, whoever.
The Martian? No, that's the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, who was cool too, but hard to do. The black Green Lantern.
Yeah.
They could do all three.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 5 seasons
John
there.
Stewart.
John Stewart, yeah. And both Hal Jordan and John Stewart are good Green Lantern characters.
Yeah.
So, listen up, CW. Pick this up.
Yeah.
Bring us everybody.
Listen to us. Give us everything we want. Yeah, well, that was pretty much the episode. Ray got his butt kicked. Ray and Felicity are still together. Oh, I thought it was really rich that Oliver, master withholder of information, yelled at Felicity for not telling him about Ray. And it's like, you know, he doesn't tell anybody anything, but Felicity should have told him about Ray, building his suit.
Oliver just likes to be in control.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end, Felicity didn't know about the suit till right after either, so can't blame her.
Yeah.
But Oliver very much likes to be in control, because if he's not in control, everything goes to shit for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he still does not deserve her. I don't really think Ray does either, but
Ray's a bit more better fit.
Yeah, he's better. Barry would be the best fit, but I guess...
Barry's having his own fun time, man.
Yeah.
Iris, Linda Park. I don't know, he had a little thing with Felicity, and then he almost had a thing with Caitlin.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right.
He's
Yeah.
a ladies' man. But unlike Oliver, in a different sense.
Yep. All right, well, I guess that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The true review for 15 and 16?
16 and 17.
16 and 17?
We only have, like, 5 or 6 episodes left. So we're really coming down the wire.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. Which will be good. Hopefully, after this season, maybe the writers will regroup a little bit, and next season will be a bit more coherent. Because I don't really understand where this season is headed. Something with Malcolm, something with the League of Assassins.
What if Malcolm becomes
something with Ray?
Ra's al Ghul? Ooh, dangerous.
I
But
don't know.
I don't think that's possible.
No.
I think Nisa should become Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah. Gosh. So we'll see. We'll see how this weird, disjointed season that has too many plots and yet none really will conclude. So keep checking out our videos. Mickey's still covering the Flash. I'm still covering the Arrow. And yeah, we will see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
See you.